Hi there. Welcome to a Bonzolium video for Saturday, June 2nd, 2018. Alright, so this is a video I want to make real fast about very seldomly I will take down, well, not too, well, I guess, yeah, seldomly. I'll never disable the comments for me. Because, I mean, I love comments, positive or negative. I mean, at least people are joining in. Although there is one arsehole who calls himself Bill Lyons that I might have to prohibit from commenting. Because he just keeps, you know, it's one thing if there's like 10 arsehole comments, but then there's 11, and then 15, and then after a while, I might have to zap him. So, Bill Lyons, if you're listening to this, I'm going to zap you. Just at least try to just make it not so mean-spiritedly bully. Try to put your bully thing, turn the knob down a little. Anyway, I disabled the comments for me playing Immigrant song at Metro on the bottom May 31st birthday bash. But it was two things. One thing, well, the reason why I disabled the comments was, remember, in a Zeppelin tribute band, even though obviously the skill of the drummer Bonham is required to do your best to try to reproduce, right? Or the Jimmy Page or the John Paul Jones, they were great musicians. But the fact of the matter is ultimately, especially with Plant, it's kind of something you're born with and you're not. So it's not, you don't necessarily, can work on sounding like Plant. You can't. Even Plant himself really kind of stopped sounding like Plant as 75 came in. In 77, they used that harmonizer, and, it's just a fact. Plant himself will tell you that. So I just disabled the comments because it's just, let's just enjoy. I realized, though, I inadvertently had also disabled the thumbs up or thumbs down, which I did able again. So feel free to just put a thumbs up or thumbs down. I was pissed, though, because when I listen to it, I hear myself dragging a little in my Immigrant song playing. Because I was under the impression we were going to do the, not the BBC sessions, the How the West Was Won. And it's Bonham's his tempo isn't that fast in it. He speeds it up as they go into the, the cool solo and stuff. But I was very conscious of not speeding it up. And there were just a couple times I heard it like dragging because of me. I was like, Anyway. So, plus two, I put a couple turnarounds, in awkward spots, and that just bothers me. But anyway, it was great playing at Metro, and that place, that's a historic place. That's an historic place. I mean, it's like, think about that, man. A lot of bands have played there over the years. I think REM, one of the first times, if not the first time they played in Chicago, might have been at Metro. Before it was technically the Cabaret Metro. Just putting my hand on this drum, I realize it's a little, I'm going to have to tune it up a little. But it was really, really neat, man. Greg Fundus from Led Zeppelin 2 put it on. He was, a lot of work, man. And it was really, really neat. I met a bunch of nice dudes. There was a dude, Quinn, who, his last name, I wonder if he's the son of somebody I know. There was a Marshall. There was a Dave. Of course, there was Matt Walker, who's like a renowned studio guy. Do you know what I mean? And actually, he did a really good job. He's a Zeppelin. Remember, some people are like Zeppelin Bonhamites, and other people are like, yeah, I like Led Zeppelin, John Bonham, yes. Sometimes, two things. They had the skill. If they sat down and maybe really, like, sort of paid a hell of a lot of attention to it and really try getting all the idiosyncrasies. But a lot like Walker and these guys, I think they did a really damn good job. It's not, me and George, like, live and breathe it, Fundus. But, it's like suddenly if I was asked to do, like, if somebody said, well, come on, Terry, why you do, like, a Jeff Porcaro tribute? I'd be like, all right. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and there was another fella, too, the drummer from Chance the Rapper. He's a younger guy, incredible drummer. I felt kind of, He did Dazed and Confused. That was a tough one to give that dude. He did a great job when he was playing. There were a couple things he missed, but I felt terrible for him because, it'd almost be like if it was just, all in all, it was a great night, and I was very honored to play with these other drummers. They're all like, they'd all played at the Metro many times. These guys are all, and of course George. It was great on Moby Dick. I was I was playing oh, you know what was great though too? The funny thing is when Moby Dick rolled around, Matt Walker and God, what's the Chance the Rapper's drummer? Greg Sticks Landfear, or those guys kind of stood at the side of the stage and saw the first couple people do it. And then when Moby Dick came around, they went right out there and delivered the goods. Like they saw the mojo with the hi-hat and stuff, and they were like, it was really neat. And of course George went out there and slayed it on Moby. He did. It was a beautiful thing. I did the hand thing, and on the trade-off to me for the hand thing, I sort of wanted to lead in sort of with the I kind of stumbled the ball a little. It'll turn up. We'll get video of it. But I thought it was all right. But then when I hit the floor tom for the first or second time, the leg broke down. So what I want to tell Greg, this is what I'm going to advise Greg to do, because those were his ambers. On his Ludwig brackets, I will advise him to swap out those big, the big Ludwig, they're wing nuts. You can turn them by hand, but sometimes you really got to torque those. You can go to the hardware store and get the same threading, but on a smaller sort of just stereotypical looking wing nut. And I also want to give him one of these. You know, it's like a stay set drum key. This is a CNC key, not to be confused with the CNC drum company. Somebody way back in the day in the 60s used to make these. These are really, really good. And there's a fella on the East Coast who's a teacher. He has tons of books, who has a bunch of these still. And he used to sell them on YouTube. On eBay, he'd have two keys, and he'd start the bid at like $8, and sometimes it'd go up to like $20 or $30. Then after a while, sometimes they would just, and sometimes people wouldn't even buy them. These are great because it's it has the regular drum key here, it has the Premier sonor here, and here it has the standard wing nut from especially Ludwig back in the day, but also a wing nut thing, which you can be like, you can torque it, So I got to lay one of these on Greg. And also lay some on Greg Fundus and lay some of those wing nuts on him because it makes it a lot easier. It is a big pain in the. I mean, I'm sure, and I got to tell you, man, Greg Fundus, he's a machine, man. He's got to be my age, I would think. And he plays with a lot. He's like a across the board drummer. He plays, I think, with Farik. He plays with a lot of people, and he has a book. He published like a drum book, at least one. And the power this dude had, I don't know how he went out and did it. I got to work on my left half. I got to get some frickin' power. But anyway, I'm sorry everybody couldn't be there. All in all, I thought it was really good. Next time, I think we'll have the sound guy. The sound I thought was a little. We could probably spend a little more time on getting the sound a little more. The drums, surprisingly, I didn't think were that loud. They were sort of EQ'd in more of a modern, sort of clicky way. When you hit the bass drum, and you have like some of that. There's a way to sort of do it where you can sort of EQ the stage, where you get less physical attack like on the bass drum, and then maybe turn the guitars and the bass down just a smidge. But all in all, it was really, really good. It was very exciting. Again, talking about that club, Metro. Man, somebody should make, while it still stands in case something happens, like a documentary like on the Metro. On the Metro Club. Seriously. Because it's really, really neat, man. It was really neat to be a part of that. It was a lot of fun. And again, thanks to Greg, Matt, another Greg, Quinn, Dave, Marshall. God, if there was another one, I'm a rat. I don't think there was another. And of course, the other Greg. So two Gregs. And George, of course. Yeah, George is wonderful. Again, people don't realize how, like, George truly is like I mean, not only does he like nail the, I mean, think about it. He's like a trifecta. What do they call when somebody's like a hat trick? A triple threat. He's a top tier drummer. End of story. And within that, his technique, that really demonstrates, it shows how much technique really is required to play Bonham accurately. Okay, a lot of people will steamroll over that. Like, yeah, Bonham didn't have, well, Bonham necessarily might not have done like sextuplets around the drums with the double, like that kind of stuff. But listen to his singles and his doubles and his buzzes and his, apart from just his style. Again, remember, Bonham used to be able to do really fast single strokes where he'd play not into the head, but kind of just off the head, where they sounded like a buzz. You always hear it on like Days Confused, like ba 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 ba, but like into a downbeat. And flute is so. That's the first of the triple. Second, I don't know, sometimes you should go like this. You know what I mean? If this is the total screw you, this should be the kind of like, yeah, well, kind of blow me, sort of. Back to George. And second is his knowledge of, you know, all the studio records and stuff and history, right? But third is his bootleg knowledge. In fact, when I was pulling up to the Metro, I kind of started chuckling to myself. God, I hope he doesn't see this video. Well, he will. Well, I think so. And he called and we're talking about something. He's like, yeah, you know how George talks? He's kind of like, yeah, you know, it's really neat. I think when I do Moby, I might put this thing in because, you know, if you listen, what did he say? He's like to the 1970, like Svalbard. He's like, that's what Bonham did. And I think to myself, like, God, man, George is a frickin' PhD of all things Led Zeppelin, Bonham. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was great. I think they'll do it again next year. At some point, too, I want to talk to George about he and I hosting something somewhere, maybe locally, like at a VFW or something. Do you know what I mean? Because it would be a smaller room. It would be a little more intimate. We could really get the sound right the way we want it and sell merchandise. No, have everybody out, and it would be like a big party, man. We could have, like, other people come up and ask around if they wanted. Like, it would be a legitimate, like, Bonzolian party. So I'm going to look into that, okay? So otherwise, yeah, but really, that's why I disabled the comments, okay? Because the singer there, he is the Led Zeppelin 2 singer. The allergies in Chicago now are horrible. We have, like everywhere, we have the grass, pollen, mold. He was suffering, man. And I think, too, sometimes when you take those antihistamines, they dry you out. So it's like a lose-lose. If you're singing through dried vocal cords, it's your ass. And personally, I didn't think, people, when you listen to Immigrant song with me playing, I thought he did a pretty good job. Compare him to even Plant back in the day, some of those bootlegs. I'm serious. So he's a good dude, man, seriously. So anyway, I just don't, and I understand people. I'm all about people leaving comments and stuff. I don't mean to be like, you know, necessarily like the fascist thing, but, you know, it's just, you know, so the comments are just disabled, you know what I mean? Because there were also, too, there were a couple of my diehard fans whom I love very dearly who's kind of got into it about something else. I just figured, well, just, you know what I mean? So when there's something where it's just me going off, let's say on Moby Dick, I always leave the comments up. Ask any bully. They'd be surprised. Very seldomly do I block people's comments out. And like I said, I'm getting close to zapping somebody. But anyway, I hope everything is good with everybody. Everybody had a good Memorial Day. More videos on the way. I do have the Kashmir gig coming up June 23rd in Evanston. I'll try to remember the name of that frickin' club, man. I'm such a skull. I'll look it up right now while we chat. On my space phone. God, imagine if you could appear back in, like, you know, God, even in, like, 2000 with one of these. You know, it'd be like, beam me up, Scotty. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to look up right now, June 23rd, if you happen to be in and around Chicago. Okay, I'm going to type in, this is what's cool. Kashmir Tribute, Evanston. I'll bet it'll come up. Let's see. Evanston, whoops, not Evanston, it's Evanston. That's where Northwestern is, that college, university. Here it is. Events comes right up. Kashmir, tribute to Led Zeppelin. Well, I guess the name of the club is Carpe Diem. Carpe Diem. Carpe Diem. Isn't that from one of those movies? I know it's Latinish. Carpe Diem. Is it Seize the Day, I do believe. All right. Oh, wait. It says Evanston Rocks. That's the name of the club. Okay? And it's at 1012 Church Street, Evanston, Illinois. Okay? And it says Kashmir is a very entertaining show bringing the best of Led Zeppelin, blah, 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 blah. And the world-famous Terry Keating will be sitting in on drums. It doesn't say that. And I'm certainly not world-famous. Don't you know who I am? You know, I felt like doing that. At the show, I was going to kid around. We first walked in. I was going to say to somebody as a joke, like, don't you know what? But I'm sure it would have been taken wrong. And I thought that'd be kind of funny. Like, I want to make a video where, like, backstage at, like, Bonzolium, like, back here, like, before I make the video, I'm like a total prick to everybody. Like, you know, Maury, my tea isn't hot enough. Splash it in his face. You know what I mean? And there's only, like, purple M&Ms or whatever, and I sit down, I'm like, you know, fuck you, Rudy, and hey, everybody. I thought that'd be funny. I probably shouldn't tip my hand. But anyway, so that's June 23rd, 2018 in Evanston at Evanston Rocks. That's a George Anesti joint. Ron Anesti, jeez. Ron's coming up, man. He's like the Midwest Bill Graham. So more videos on the way. Thank you for watching again. You know, normally I do leave the comments up. I know some people are like, well, yeah, if you're going to go out there and do it, you got to be thick-skinned. Yeah, you know, but if you were in that position, trust me. And again, Plant couldn't even pull off Plant after 75. I don't care what anybody says. So, thank you for watching. More videos on the way. These Ambers will be at the Evanston, and July 28th. I'll be at a place called the Broken Oar that I did last year on and around July 28th, 2017. So, all right, well, thank you for watching. Hang on. This might make a little noise. I do have the washing machine on. Back to the sweet spot. Remember, this get a condenser mic. And this is for anybody, even if you're not going for the bottom sound. Remember, we're at the top of the cylinders here, okay? It really picks up the drums terrifically. Strictly speaking for the cymbals, so it's not necessarily the best position for the cymbals. I always think the cymbals, well, it's kind of funny. I remember we were at a studio recording. Paris Holly was his name, and this was in Forest Park back in 1996. God love him. He's still around. I saw him at a store one day. He was getting tamales. I was in there, and he came in, and I said, excuse me, was that Paris Holly? And they said, yeah. So he had 57s like on each crash. I remember thinking to myself, like, kind of at the time, I was kind of like, that's sort of a beginner's mistake. We go in and we're playing, and it was like the Keith, you know when you see Keith Moon? You know, Keith Moon went through his, you know, he played Zildjians, they played Pisces, and he played Zildjian, he played Pisces, and he played Zildjian, he played Pisces. One of the Zildjian times where he's playing, and his Zildjian sounds so sweet. And remember, to me, I like Zildjians. Yeah, to me, there's a bigger variability of my taste, to everybody, of like what you like in Zildjian. You have to go through about 10, well, maybe not so much now. They've really, with the redesign of the, anyway. I was like, what? It was a great sound, man, so I don't know how the hell he did it. Anyway, more videos on the way. And I appreciate everybody. I really, 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 really appreciate all my subscribers and everybody that watches my videos. Even if you're not happy with them, I appreciate you watching them. You know, put your opinion out there. That's okay. Thank you.